Let's talk about the economy. How is the Sri Lankan economy doing now? Is it out of the woods yet?
It's not yet out of the wood, it is coming out of the woods. I would say we finished everything. Okay, we are able to meet the benchmarks that the IMF has put, but still two issues are there. One, we still have to balance the budget. Secondly, is a question of the trade balance, which is not in our favor. As far as the domestic budget is concerned, we have to increase our revenues. It's partly affected by the fact that we have our revenue collection machinery is not updated. We've always focused on a few. Secondly, the economy has not picked up. That's also another reason for affecting the revenue. But I think 2024, 25 onwards, it will be better. But we can't go on as this traditional way. We have to have a new economy. And that's what we are planning for and going ahead.
One of your biggest expenses is servicing the debt, but Sri Lanka has not been able to generate the kind of revenue they need to do that. How do you plan to meet your debt obligations then?
No, we have to depend more on our revenue. We have to get the economy grow much faster, which means restructuring the economy, removing away the remaining fetters to growth.
In September, the IMF withheld new funds after a review. How do you plan to unlock the remainder of the bailout?
We've fulfilled what has to be done. So there shouldn't be a problem. We met the IMF targets, benchmarks, to use the word.
President Wickremesinghe, who is Sri Lanka's biggest creditor as of today?
Pardon?
Who is Sri Lanka's biggest creditor as of today?
Who do you think?
You tell me.
Huh?
I think it's China.
It's the international sovereign bonds. That's the biggest.
Bilateral creditor?
No, bilateral is China, but our biggest creditor is the private. The private creditors, they form the largest number.
And China is the biggest bilateral creditor?
It's a bilateral, yeah.
And yet China has refused to be included in debt restructuring. Why do you think they want to separate?
China has been in it separately. We negotiate with them separately. It has nothing to do with Sri Lanka or any other countries. They are not satisfied with the terms they are getting from the IMF and the World Bank. They feel that they should have a bigger role to play in the IMF. So they've decided to opt out of it, and they are going separately. It's making life more difficult for all of us who are in debt. But this is the reason. It's had nothing to do with that. It's something that has to be sorted out by the big boys.
But China is stalling the IMF relief that Sri Lanka so
No, China has now agreed. They sent in their letters of consent, and we have conveyed to others the content of their letter. The letter was sent in confidence to us. We've requested China also to give copies to the other members.
China is often called a loan shark, and over the past few months they played hardball with Sri Lanka as well. Did you at some point feel that you were dealing with a loan shark?
I won't say it's a loan shark. We knew they were going to play it separately and differently, but I also knew that with the others responding, China was also going to give a similar response. And I agreed to meet, I wanted to meet with President Xi, which they agreed at the Belt and Road. It was not an easy thing to negotiate debt restructuring among international geopolitics, but that's what happened.
You met him in October. What did you tell him?
I discovered, by that time I had spoken to the others. He said, no, we will be sending you our requirement, our consent. Didn't go into details, we had already discussed it. But I must say, first we appreciate India, $3.5 billion that was given. That was useful. Secondly, the other countries helped us and the multilaterals.
I will come to the role of India, but do you believe that Beijing has been an honest broker during Sri Lanka's financial crisis?
We didn't have any difficulty dealing with it.
Do you think India would agree with this assessment? Because India has been trying to bring all the creditors on one platform, and China refuses to join it.
Yes, we also suggested one platform. China refused to do it, is our suggestion.
So they did make your life more difficult.
I mean, dealing with two groups was not easy, but then the outcome, I think, again, even in respect to other countries, this will happen. The message is that China is sending a message to the IMF and others. So it's up for them to sort it out.
But what is the message Sri Lanka taking from this episode vis-a-vis China?
Pardon? No, we know that China has now cooperated and they've given their positive answer.
Sri Lanka is also an active member of the Belt and Road project,
yes.
But Chinese funding has gone down. Until 2019, they were investing some $100 billion every year. Now it's come down to 60 or to $70 billion. Yet you heaped praise on the BRI, the Beijing summit. What do you think makes the BRI so attractive for Beijing?
No, it's a question of the availability of funds for development, which many countries have taken, but they have a problem of satisfying their infrastructure needs. Remember that no one else gives that money, especially the African countries. This is the only hope they have, and they have a longer way to go than any of us, so they depend on it. But let's say even in Sri Lanka, we have Japanese aid and Chinese aid. Now, when a government comes in, we'll negotiate with both. We know Chinese aid comes first, so you can get one project up and away before the elections. The Japanese aids come later. They plan it out much better. So we just start that off before elections. So when it comes to the election cycles, you need both. China to show that you've done something and Japan to show there's more to follow. And hopefully if the voters follow it, you get elected, otherwise you're not. But this is a political formula that many countries use.
You're looking at the glass half full. There's something else that follows after the aid comes.
Both
And
will
after
be, Japanese will be there before the fourth year, but they'll take a little bit longer than China. And it's different types of projects also. And how the Japanese, they are very thorough. They plan every detail.
China has also hinted at expanding the China-Myanmar economic corridor to include Sri Lanka. Is that something that you're keen on?
Well, yes, China-Myanmar economic corridor to Sri Lanka and from Sri Lanka to Africa.
You want to join it?
Pardon?
Does Sri Lanka want to join it?
Well, the corridor is there, we'll get connected. There's no special program on that. But connectivity, yes, we are for connectivity. Also, we are for connectivity with the ports in Africa. So we will connect both the ports in Africa and the Myanmar ports. But what's the issue of Myanmar port?
Nothing. China wants to include you in one more project. I wanted to know if you welcome that.
It's not China. We are looking at getting integrated, and we feel that the African ports are going to be important. Even India knows that. We want to get linked up, and and if you link it up with the Myanmar, but the ships that come from Myanmar, that's a new route altogether. That was anyway going to happen.
Yeah. And ships have been coming to Sri Lanka as well. Two ships came from China in the last 1 year to Sri Lanka.
But why are you asking me?
No. My question is that those two ships came and the US and India expressed concern, and experts said that they were spy ships. Is that a characterization you agree with?
First one we asked for evidence is a spy ship. There was no evidence. Second one we had allowed it. We allowed the ship to come, and they were in this area. It was not an issue at all. What is a spy ship is a big question mark. These are civilian ships, but if there are issues, if they are spy ships, we will not allow them to come in. But as far as exploration is concerned, we allow not only Chinese ships, but other ships. But no one highlights the fact that other ships also come to Sri Lanka. Each time a Chinese ship comes, we get a lot of publicity. But if a research ship comes from another country, we are ignored.
For example?
Yeah, they come in. There's a French ship due.
So
we are going to now develop our own hydrography unit and get our own ships. Then we can do surveys around India and China both.
That sounds like a good plan. But in the meantime, would you welcome more such research ships from China, or would you want Beijing to stop sending them?
We will welcome any research ship. We have no problems at all, as long as it's for research.
Would you allow China to also dock a military ship in Sri Lanka?
We have always allowed. All ships, military ships from any country, they are all docking Colombo.
So you're okay with that?
Well, they have all been doing. Indians, Chinese, Russians, Americans, everyone comes to Colombo. Hambantota, we find the Japanese are not going there. No Chinese ship has gone so far.
Do you feel that Sri Lanka is caught in the great power battle between India and China?
There's a great power battle between not only India and China, between China and US though. India and all is a part of that. India is worried about its own security, and we have said if there anything that affects India's national security, we feel so, we will certainly act.